So this is Kal Kat, the Kal Katster, and it seems that Stone Gremlins did a movie, one of their movie night car movie things, already with Doug Walker and Rob Walker, and Stone Gremlins, of course. And also Red Letter Media also did one. They've gone to see Tron Legacy before Kal Kat to see it, probably anticipating Kal Kat. Seen it. Well, actually, I saw it after they did. I saw their reviews already. I just watched the last part of the Some Gremlins after seeing it. And in neither of their other reviews really interfere with in any way with mine. Their Tron Legacy apparently came out in 2010, around the second season of the Kal Kat show. It's been a number of years since then. So 2010 is now 2025, so 15 years ago. I'm surprised Jeff Bridges was still around to be in it. I guess he's rather old at this point. But yeah, and the first one was in the 80s, the 80s Tron movie and game and whatever. I didn't review Legacy, it turns out, or if I did, it's long since lost. It would have been a season 1 or season 2, probably season 2 review. This one though is sort of a reboot. Spoilers, sort of a reboot. Rotten Tomatoes rating is roughly half and half, roughly 50%, a little over 50%. Critics like it, and some 50% don't like it. And the audience for today was Sunday, the 12th of October. The audience wasn't an audience. There were a handful of people in the theater with me. A handful. There were 5 of us, sitting sparsely throughout the thing. Maybe there were a few more later on, but I think it was mainly 5 or 6. 5, 6. There might have been a few in the back that I didn't see. They sat far from each other. It was a ScreenX showing, so it was expensive because I didn't want to see the 3D showing, so I saw the ScreenX showing. It's the same theater where I saw the Dungeons and Dragons, the Thieves movie. So that made it different, I guess. It's controversial in the same way that the Flash movie was controversial. And interestingly enough, the Campia show has not really been talking about Tron Ares so much and the controversy of that. When they were talking about the Amber Heard controversy for Aquaman, they talked about that a lot. They talked about the Flash one all the time. But this one, not so much. Tron Ares and we have Jared Leto as the lead as Ares. Greco-Roman god theme kind of going on. Tron Ares. It's just but not really, sort of computer thing. Like so many of the other ones have said, the soundtrack is cool. It was a 9 Inch Nails soundtrack. Like the last one was Depeche Mode. No, the last one was not Depeche Mode. They reference them, but the last one was not Destiny's Child, but that is Daft Punk. Yeah. The movie tries desperately to be cool, as if computer nerds are cool. That play video games. That's cool. It's Hot Topic cool, though. Although I guess the recognizer thing being real in the story is kind of cool. But gamer nerds are not really cool. They're not. We have a lead villain in a guy who looks vaguely like Michael Cera but is not. It's not him. It's another actor from something else. I'm not going to bother looking him up because it doesn't matter. He does a good imitation of Michael Cera and Jesse Eisenberg a little bit. Yeah, yet another villainous tech bro. So like the Lex Luthor character from the Superman movie, kind of a similar bad guy, freaking out over things and getting sent to things, and similar bad guy. So that's kind of a theme this year, the tech bro who throws tantrums. And clearly a nod to a certain tech bro. But yes, clearly a nod. However, if they were working on it for 10 years as they claim, then, did it really take them 10 years to do all that? I mean, they had an awful lot of animators in there. Did they just keep redoing it over and over again? Because there's some mind-bending physics that make no sense at all from the get-go. And it is science fiction. I'll grant you that. Science fantasy, science fiction. But you have to have... explaining this movie, you kind of have to have explained the last one, because they're kind of a box set, this one, Tron Legacy. However, the Tron Legacy show spin-off cartoon was not known to the general public, but just to those who watched the other one. I read some brief snippets of those episodes. They continued with the Korra character, stealing that name right out of not only computer stories, but stealing the name out of close enough to Korra, the character in The Last Airbender. Korra, same sounding name, different spelling. Who at the end of Legacy became real. Somehow she became real. Physicists have tried to analyze that and said that would require an incredible amount of information to make her become real. To which other ones have said, well, then how did Jeff Bridges' character get into the Matrix that quickly? Get trapped in there. Clearly they were able to do that in that universe. Physics bending thing. If they can make him go in it, they can make her come out of it. But still, this movie hints that she's still around, but doesn't show her. It has instead a new character, a sort of a TMS Jung Swan character named Kim, who shows up in her sister, who is supposed to be her sister. The character's sister's dead. They have to go in, and she's trying to find the code. There's a code. They have to find a code that makes them immortal, or it makes them mortal enough. It makes them real. They could have just gone to the girl from the last movie and asked her, "How did you become? You've got the code on you." They could have done that. Korra could have explained it. How that happens. So it's already been done. It was done in that movie. So they've forgotten that it was done in Legacy, and it's sort of like the ending of The Incredibles Part 1, in which everybody knows that Baby Jack flew out of the plane on his own after defeating the bad guys. Clearly he has some kind of powers. And then they ignore the powers in the next movie, pretend it didn't happen. Oh, he's got his powers all of a sudden. It's kind of the same idea here. They forgot. They just didn't want to connect the two movies. And one of the producers of this is Jared Leto, who infamously was in that Joker of the first Suicide Squad movie. He's done other better movies, but and he's infamously in trouble, and same with the Flash guy is, for being kind of a jerk to women. Several people have accused him of doing unsedentary things. Let's say unsedentary things. He's a producer on this movie. As far as the lead, he's Ares, right? And this movie is, like the other critics have said, is a nod to Terminator more than a nod to Tron. Sort of the Linda Hamilton character and the Connor character getting together. kind of thing. So you know that's going to happen. Yeah. And yeah, it's the bad guy who is not Heisenberg or Sarah, but looks kind of like him. Put the three of them together. I think he ended up playing the pseudo one in the Zombieland. I'm not sure though about that Zombieland 2 when they couldn't get that guy to be in it. This guy. But I'm not sure, and don't correct me. I don't care. And so, it's yeah. The bad guy has a way to 3D print programmable matter into somehow into matter, and make people out of programmable matter, which is physically bending impossible. But for some reason, they're able to do that with the lasers. They obviously don't know how lasers work in the movie. They don't know how light works in the movie. They seem to. A laser beam thing. A laser beam, the light application, laser beam. Laser beam is a focused light beam, that particle light beam, and it just cuts through things. It does not create matter. It cannot just make matter appear. It would be kind of the opposite of that. It would destroy the matter if it blasted it. Yeah. Some kind of a plasma beam? What is it? But yes. Yeah. Yeah, they've forgotten about the girl from the last one. And ignore that. They have a cameo. A picture of her appears in a scan of the characters. She would have been very helpful in the movie. She could have explained, okay, you don't need the code from the other lady at all. You're supposed to find the code that grants them more immortality, or grants it because they have a half-life. They had a ticking timer again. They had another ticking timer thing. They did this in. This is actually kind of similar in some ways to the Final Reckoning, as well. The Final Reckoning with the ticking timer thing. Again, and in this movie as well. Another movie this year with an AI that's threatening the universe. I don't think AI is a threat to the universe. AI is not smart enough to be a threat to the universe. But anyway, so these other people, the Kim lady and her sidekick, have invented a better version, and they found the code. And they activate it to make a tree in the middle of the Arctic, and then eat from it. And then they got the bad guy is on their tail, and the bad guy hunts them down using light cycles. These guys are programmable. They're only there for half an hour. And they got the witch lady from The Acolyte in it as one of the bad as Athena. They've got because sure, why not? I think with why did this take 10 years? Because of all the extra stuff going around in it. Was it really actually filmed in the Vancouver, Alberta area? Actually, it was Alberta area. It said in the credits, Alberta, which is near, but yeah. The original Tron movies though took place in California, in Silicon Valley, out here, Silicon Valley. Originally, it was supposed to take place out here, but Bad Guy Tron World is the grid covered in the thing. It wasn't even called the internet yet. It was the grid back then. And so they call it the grid in this. They pretend like there's no internet, even though there clearly is. Server going back and forth. They hacked the server farm. That got a chuckle out of me. That was funny. We're going to hack the server farm with these virus bad guys. Okay, that's funny. That wouldn't work that way, but okay. They could have used the trick they used in Independence Day, and they could have had them activate Windows on the Mac, on the alien's Mac, and blow up the machine. But yeah, I take it that Tron universe is a Mac, and the bad guy universe is PC, running on Windows 11. Now let's make computer typing cool and stuff, and have the master user unknowingly making it sound a little racist when he's the master, the master controller thing, and then the lady who's from the Acolyte, a little racist there. Then she becomes the master controller, but it makes no sense. It makes her sound like Grace Jones or something from the James Bond movies. This doesn't make sense. So you have their ability to go in and out of the universe and create these 3D printed. I guess it's 3D printed. I guess that's what they're doing. But with lasers, several lasers shoot down on the thing, and they can physically form matter into other things. Lasers. They call them lasers. Now, and if they called them particle creators or 3D printers, it probably would make more sense. But they called them lasers in the movie. So they're supposed to be lasers. Lasers don't do that. Nor do they allow people to go in and out of the Tronverse as well. The 80s Tronverse. Leto's character tries desperately to think the 80s are cool. He's always referring to the 80s and Depeche Mode. I guess originally they wanted Depeche Mode to play the band in the movie, but then they got 9 Inch Nails instead. So I don't know how that works, but no need to correct it. Don't bother. And their whole like motivations, their universe doesn't make sense. But partly going to chalk that up to their entire world is completely different than ours, and that they are computer hacker people, so they're going to talk like that. They're not. I mean, the lady's supposed to be a tech bro as well, but she's still a computer hacker, so she's going to talk like that. She's going to talk like a robot. So yeah, okay, fine. They're going to all be socially awkward in others. All of them, the good guys, the bad guys, everybody, all going to be socially awkward, not be able to understand human emotions and all this stuff. They're all going to be a mess in there. And we have all of their motivations are rather silly. And then the bad guys are distracted by the rain, or the bad guys distracted long enough to do this or that, or break through a building but then forget what they're doing and the sprinklers go off. That kind of thing. There's a bad guy. There's the bad guy. The girl gets transformed into the computer. The Kim girl, and to meet Ares, and they're in the computer, and then she gets brought back from the digital world, like nothing happened, and I guess and then she and Ares become friends really rapidly, and that doesn't really make sense. Sort of pseudo friends while they're figuring out where the code is, and they're just going to give it to them. I don't know why they couldn't just and there's actually an error in there, in that they scanned her. They scanned her mind when she was in the computer. Wouldn't they know what the code is? Dope! They scanned her mind. They thought they had it already. So, yeah, they didn't need the disk. They scanned her completely, and her mind. But I had a record of all of that. And when did he have time to scan her and the software, and then he starts telling her about her past. And that's how they become friends, but that's really weird. I think that would just make it creepy. But it's Jared Leto who is kind of creepy. But yeah, sure. So he's it's a little odd, a little off. It's not quite there. Neither was Legacy. Was the first one, really. And they're okay. They're nostalgic, cult thing of their time. It's mainly the eye candy, is mainly the vehicles and things doing that. But there are just parts in this movie that don't make any sense. If it was the real world, they should have taken the route that they did they didn't do in the Matrix sequels, when Neo is allegedly in the real world, they should have gone, okay, he's not in the real world. He's still not in the real world. Even in movie 2, he's actually still in the Matrix, and it's another level of the Matrix. So that then his superpowers would make sense because he'd be still in the Matrix. This movie kind of turns that opposite because these movies came out the first one came out way before the Matrix, like the 80s, 84 or something, 83, 84. The Matrix came out in 99. The Matrix is clearly cribbing from it. They're probably meant to get Keanu Reeves, but as Red Letter Media and the other one pointed out, if they had got Keanu Reeves, it wouldn't be The Matrix. It'd be Johnny Mnemonic, which is another movie from the 90s before it got in The Matrix. But no, they couldn't get Keanu. They wanted somebody younger. Yeah, they wanted somebody younger. So Jared Leto. Jared, don't let him. It was like, yeah, they don't want to be friends with that guy necessarily. He's not getting the girls. So yeah, another reason people probably won't go to see it because the actor is a goof. To say it nicely, yeah. But yeah, I mean, at one point, they cut a cop car in half. They do a lot of destruction in the story. That isn't, a lot of collateral damage. There's fighter planes ordered to fly out over a city, which they wouldn't do, to fight the Recognizer. No, they wouldn't do that. Like G.I. Joe eject. Now they died. The helicopter guy died. And then they wrap the girl. The bad guy wraps the girl in a light, several light from the light that sprays off the ship like it's some kind of a force field instead of light. It's like it's a force field. So they put her in the force field at one point. And like I didn't think that the energy field from behind the cycle things or the drone things would actually behave like that. The reason it does in the original Tron game is they just couldn't like animate the the edge of the light wave disappearing. It was an artifact of what they thought light speed would look like, basically. It was supposed to stop. They just couldn't animate it. But you guys are like, oh yeah. The light stays there for some reason. So it was an art. It was a glitch. The game. The original game. There was a game. Yes, the Tron is actually an onomatopoeia anagram thing. Onomatopoeia. It's a compounded word from Silicon Valley Talk at the time, in the 80s. It's Tryon, but it is also Tron, so it's a play on words. Yeah. So it's also that. It's both. Yeah, so it's a play on words. But Tron also means robot. So if you have in Transformers, you have Cybertron. It's literally a computer robot. And Tron is literally robot. It's a big robot. Tron, robot. Megatron, big robot. Yeah. Big computer robot. Internet. They call it the grid instead of the internet. Some of it's entered the lexicon. It's called the grid. If you're off the grid, you're not on the internet. That's off the grid. But yeah, they make it sound like the grid is the grid in the game, because that's what it was. They have sophisticated computer stuff. Gillian Anderson does an interesting role doing a British accent in this. I was like, what is she doing? Yeah. But yeah, she's all right in it. Yeah, we get to see Scully. It makes sense that Scully would become the X-Files would become a computer hacker. Yeah, hacker lady. I like how they try to make different terms out of the computer terms that came to be something else later on, as if it's going to be a thing now if they do it. Only the grid is the light cycles. Ooh. The last movie they actually constructed, some motorcycle tech place built the newer Tron cycle. They said it was really unstable. Because if you have no spokes in the wheels and the wheels just held like with a bar at the front of it and nothing else, it's hard to steer, keep it not from going into things. You have to have the wheel stable thing inside the wheel. Yeah, otherwise you crash. That's only for show. You can look at the Tron bike. Ooh. But yeah, that was in 2010. But yeah, the musical score. If you're really into, techno, Nine Inch Nails and stuff, the musical score is awesome. You should just for the score. But yeah, it's like Hot Topic awesome. It's like they're trying so hard to make this look cool, and not be a rip-off clone of The Matrix. When it's a rip-off clone of The Matrix. Even though Tron came first, it's sort of like GoBots and Transformers. GoBots technically came first, and Machine Robo and that came first. Transformers came out just a few weeks later, and it was more popular, so it took over. And then later on, GoBots was bought by Tonka was bought by Transformers, Hasbro. In this case, I think Tron always was a Disney property. But then it got bought into other Lucasfilm and stuff like that came helping out with it. And the Weta workshop there in the credits. The force field stuff probably should have been, at least if you're not going to explain it, yeah. You can explain the other stuff, but not explain that. A lot of visual eye candy stuff not really explained. Yeah. So it did cost over $20 to go and see the movie, so yeah, and it's a Disney shill. I've got to say I loved it. It's like, and I can't say it did. I mean, I didn't hate it. I mean, there were elements of it at the Disneyland thing. So yeah. But yeah, now that it's out, we can reveal some of that. But only some elements. They didn't have a recognizer. They should have put one up. They had some other stuff. They had the bike. It was there. But yeah, they didn't plug it too much. Probably because Jared Leto. What were they thinking? I know he was one of the producers. That's what they were thinking. But yeah, never let your actor be a producer on the show unless they're going to be pretentious. It's not a good idea. I realize he probably backed the whole thing. Yeah, I suspect there was probably a completely different script like 5 or 6 years ago. And the stuff that they wrote for this and was putting together for the 10 years was all the effects. And it didn't really matter what the story was. It was probably more like the Terminator Dark Fate 5 or 6 years ago. And they had to, or 3 or 4 years ago, and they had to change it. And then it was more like Matrix 4, and they had to change it. And as the years came on, and they kept polishing it there, we have to change this. We have to change this. It's too much like this other thing. You could tell the parts where they had to change it completely. And then they got to the end, and finally, okay, we're going to release Tron Ares. It's kind of impressive they managed to make this come out. So, let's say it's about half of a good movie. If you give it 5 stars, it's 2.5. Straight up, 2.5. It's not quite 3, and that's for the music and the visuals. The story, the plot, paper thin. The villains are stock villains that we saw at least in 2 other sci-fi fantasy movies from Marvel and from DC. Stock villain in there. At least 2 of those this time around, if not 3. The villains were very much like those in the tech bro guy in the Winter Soldier rip-off Falcon version of Captain America. Brave New World. Captain America Brave New World, tech bro villain, bad guy in the prison. Okay. DC, Superman, tech bro villain. Well, it's Lex Luthor. They can kind of forgive that because it's Lex Luthor. I mean, of course he's got to be a tech bro. If you're gonna do Lex Luthor now, he's got to be a tech bro. He would have to be. But yeah, not so much in Fantastic Four though. But yes. But in Thunderbolts / The New Avengers, tech bro lady. She's the villain. And she makes a super bad guy who can do weird stuff with magic and zap you into other universes. Like the bad guy in this one. So, there's 2 Marvel movies that had the same kind of thing. They're just stealing their own stuff, doing it over. Vancouver again. So I don't know what's Vancouver though, it was Alberta. But yeah, they do look similar. But yeah. But yeah, it was Canada. It wasn't Silicon Valley. It didn't look even remotely like Silicon Valley. Yeah, not really. I mean, they didn't even throw in a shot of the Bay Bridge in there just to say, oh, see, look, it's Silicon Valley. There's San Francisco. They could have done that. Just a picture of it. But you figure in that universe, it didn't happen the same way. Everything happened differently than it did here. But Flynn's is supposed to be in, like, Cupertino or something. The arcade. Yeah, it's supposed to be, like, near Apple and stuff. That's where it's supposed to be. I don't know if the actual place is, but it's kind of supposed to be. There might be an Oregon version, too, but I think it was supposed to be, like, Silicon Valley, I think. Don't need to correct me. It's not important. No. So we don't know what happened to Cora, you know. And it would have helped the story if they explained that and said, like, it probably would have undermined the story, though, if she had showed up and just said, oh, this program you're looking for, I'm the program. Yeah, I was able to escape, and I've been here for like 15 years as a human. Yeah, you didn't need to do that. This whole story. This movie didn't need to happen. Here's the formula. Why don't they just give the formula? What's that? 3D printing, the computer technology isn't really going to help the universe anyway. It's just, yeah. That doesn't really make sense either. Because it would eventually just break down. Because it would be like tofu. It would be like a material that just looks like matter. You can eat it, but its nutritional value is like corn or something. It just passes right through it. Yeah, it wouldn't do anything. It'd be useless as a nutritional substance. It'd be kind of useless as a soldier too, because they'd be knocked out every half an hour. Well, of course, he was the bad guy in the story was told, oh, this isn't going to work because they're going to break down every half an hour, 29 minutes. But yeah, why was there a timer on that? Why was there a timer on that? A master computer. Ew, which was the evil mirror from Snow White. Yeah. Actually, the villain is like the lady in the Snow White remake too. Also Disney. Come on, Disney. You've done the same villain this year 4 times. Stop. Think of something else next time. Anything else. The Nicolas Cage hands like this. He should have been Nicolas Cage. Yeah. Jazz hands. Yeah, that would have gone over so well with the Athena character. It's like, oh my god. Oh. Yes. Jeff Bridges. The Stone Gremlins guys were also. Was there something wrong with Jeff Bridges? Did he have like trouble or cancer or something? Like I don't know for sure, but he's really old. He's got to be really old right now, Jeff Bridges. He's got to be ancient. Because he was ancient 15 years ago. He's got to be like really ancient. He's got to be pushing 90. Got to be. He's got to be. Yeah. He's at least in his 80s, I would think. Yeah, so getting up there. I don't know. I'm not going to check. The Matrix. The Matrix. Yeah, so that's fun. Anyway, so there's your thing. There's a review, 2.5 stars. Not going to bother with any previews or trailers. They weren't great. They just exist. They're a thing that happened. Yeah, it was... it could have been better. But they were all like that, kind of. At least it's consistently kind of... you can see it, or not. Probably see it in theaters, because it's got a lot of spectacle and eye candy. And with all of the scenes that were dark, except for the flying red lasers everywhere... Don't see it in 3D because it'll look like crap. Don't see the 3D version. It will be too dark. You'll be able to see anything. Just see these red lasers going. There's an awful lot of scenes in the dark. There was an awful lot of point of view, point of sight, camera angle things as well. But I'm going to chalk that up to the ScreenX theater stretching out the image a little bit. So I'm going to say, okay, they can get a pass on that because the theater I saw it in was stretching it out a little bit, so some of the point of sight was cut off. But that was the ScreenX. It does probably look trippy in IMAX, but yeah, the dialogue is just like, which I chalk up to, okay, they're all either programmers or programs. They're gonna sound like that, because yeah, I've been around those gamer guys or programmer guys or tech guys, the ones that tech bros work for, but we're not tech bros at all. They just work for them, right? No, tech bros. See, the difference between a tech bro and a tech person is the tech bros, they have all the money and they're the producers. It's kind of like a job. They're the producers, directors. They direct all that. The managers, the bosses. Those are the guys who are higher up. The grunts down on the ground doing all the programming and the coding and stuff like that. I don't know too many of them. But they have a different language. I know that much, and they are not the managers. They're doing the code. They're putting it together. The people doing the design, the graphics, and stuff like that. And gamers know some of them. They have a different language too. They're the gamer language, and they're not the tech bros either. But they're just tech. Yeah, and I'm not. I'm more of a writer, editor, proofer person. I don't do computer. Write code or anything like that. Don't do anything like that. But I would go in and write the dialogue in the Build Your Own Adventure, or I'd write the dialogue, edit the paper journal or something, or edit the newspaper or newsletter. Make sure there's no typos. Sure, yeah, that'd been what I would do. So I was not one of those, certainly. Or I'd write the scenario in the story. This is going to be... This is what they're going to do. They're going to go on an adventure. Here's what they're going to do. In the script. Write the script. Film the fan film. That kind of thing. Which is different. It's part of the story. It would be the script writer. And then I did not get a crack at writing Tron Ares. It probably would have been better written. But okay, the dialogue's a little weird here. Just because Jared Leto wants to say this, well, humans don't talk like that. I know he's supposed to be a robot, but the dialogue from her she doesn't talk like that. But they're kind of like robots. Anyway, so yeah, I was okay with the dialogue being cheesy, just because to be what they do. I mean, there was a little forced at parts, but that was just clearly this has been hacked in editing and has been reshot quite a bit. Probably they had to reshoot the last act because it was too similar to the 2 Marvel movies that came out. And they're like, crap, we gotta redo this part. We gotta like have Athena get distracted by sprinklers, because otherwise she can't get out of the building and it creates a continuity error. Oh shit. Okay, this is what we're gonna do. Or something. Yeah. You can get across town in 15 minutes in the middle of the attack. How? Don't think about it. It doesn't matter. Yeah, it's just, some of the... Of course, then they probably chalked it up to, well, it's high fantasy because they can laser beam somehow. Even though laser beam cuts stuff, they can... Somehow laser beams can also make stuff. Laser beams destroy. They don't create. They rip... The light rips apart stuff. Somehow in this universe, they create stuff. And they... and they can do that as well. They can create. How that would work, I don't know. They maser lasers? Because that still doesn't make sense. Yeah. Creation lasers. They would... The guy would step into the laser thing and it would just dice him into little pieces and they'd be on the ground. Mulch. You're like, we've created the super soldier guy. Activate the super soldier. Shit. Didn't do it right. He just got Ginsu'd into a million pieces. Oh, he's on the ground. He's dead. Oh well. Anybody got like a vacuum cleaner? But yeah, so that is my review of this 2.5-star movie. Yeah, that was expensive that I went to see. Yeah, if Korra had been in it, there would be no sequel. But apparently Jared Leto must have stepped in and said, "Oh, I'll produce it." So they had to rewrite it so it fits him. But then he got in trouble a little bit later on, about less than a year ago. Now it's like, okay. Now it's only alleged, so, but there's a lot of them, so I don't know how alleged it is. A lot of trouble for that guy. But it wasn't his fault that he did that crappy performance as the Joker in the first Suicide Squad movie. That was entirely the story. It just didn't know what to do with him. So they had him all goofy and dressed up funny and everything. That was entirely on the director, not directing him to do stuff. That wasn't him doing that. I want to wear this makeup on there. They could have said, no, you're not going to do that. That's dumb. Why would you have damage on your forehead? You wouldn't do that. Why would the Joker announce that? And why would you have a Joker car that's in it for like 5 minutes and then it goes in the water? At least in this movie, he's in it for more than 5 minutes. You're acting like the Connor character from Terminator. Or the guy that becomes John Connor. The father of John Connor of Terminator. Carl Reese, yeah. But it doesn't work because their chemistry is zero. Zero chemistry. None at all. Not believing even the postcard scene at the end. Actually, Gillian Anderson had more chemistry with that guy that is not Sarah or Eisenberg. Had more chemistry with him. But she gets dispatched at some point, and spoiler. But yeah. And they know immediately that the hackers are from the bad guy because they immediately say that. It's like, where's he gonna go? Oh, he figures out a way to escape, but it's stupid. It's like digital planet world thing, which then would beg the question: what if they turned it off? And how did the video game in the original become so powerful that they could? They mess with floppy disks at one point. I got the 80s and late 80s. Would he have had floppy disks in? And that was an old IBM they were messing with. That was an old IBM. Would they have had I guess they would have, but with like, yeah, yeah, they would have had early ones, I guess. Like, know how many bits are on one of those things? I mean, K, 56, K, not bits, K, kilobytes, not bytes, tiny little guys, K.